Yes, people, it's your boy, Benjamin. Hope you're well. Hope you're good. As usual, I got my cup of coffee and I got my notes. So let's begin. The topic of today's conversation is validation. Specifically, the importance of removing the need to be validated, removing the need to be understood. Now, I don't know about you, I can only speak of myself, but I'm still struggling with the need to be accepted, the need to be understood by people, the need to be validated by other people, others, and what I'm learning is that is a hindrance, it has the ability to stop me from taking action. I'm not one of those people who like to speak to others in a way where I'm assuming everybody thinks alike or goes through the same thing, even though it's very likely that I'm not the only one who feels this way. But I try to tailor these videos to speak about my own experiences, and if you happen to relate to them, then that's a bonus. You know what I mean? The need for validation and to be understood has the ability to stop you from taking particular actions that have the potential to improve your life. There are certain things that need to be done by myself or you that has the potential to push your life into a different direction, right? And what may be stopping you is your need for validation. It's like, when we were children and we'd paint something at school or draw something at school, and we'd run back home to show our parents and be like, "Oh, mom, dad, like, look at this, look at what I drew at school." Now that could go one of two ways. Your parents could pick the piece of paper, look at it and congratulate you and give you that boost of dopamine that makes you feel, seen, or, feel like your efforts were warranted, you understand? Or you could have a parent who picked up the piece of paper or didn't pick up the piece of paper and told you that they didn't have the time to look at the work that you've done, right? And both those instances could lead to you stopping or refraining from drawing again. And I'm gonna explain what I mean by that, yeah? Even the parent that validates you and looks at the drawing and tells you that you've done a good job, that could just give you enough of a feeling to make you feel like you don't want to draw again. You know what I mean? Like, you've done the job. Like, yeah, the job is done. I got my validation. I don't need to pursue this anymore. And the parent who doesn't look at your piece of work can also lead you in the direction of, okay, you know what I've done isn't important enough to be seen by someone that I care about, so there's no point of me doing this again. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not expecting the child to remove the need for validation, but I'm just trying to explain a scenario where validation may stop you from moving forward and taking another step in the right direction. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that we all don't need a bit of encouragement. Like, everybody needs encouragement from time to time, but when you are in your mid 20s or early 30s, I'd say like from mid 20s onwards, yeah, don't rely on encouragement. You know what I mean? Like, you should not be relying on encouragement anymore, because everybody by that stage in time is getting on with their own life. You understand what I'm saying? And if you're relying on encouragement, then it's going to make it very hard for you to continually do an action. You know what I mean? It's going to make it very difficult for you to build the necessary habits, build the necessary consistency that leads to the necessary habits. You understand what I'm saying? If you're always looking for that external encouragement or validation or reassurance or, I don't know, like glory, you get it? Like, you really need to like sit down, think about why you're doing these actions. And if these actions aren't something that you are self-encouraged to do because you know that it's going to be for the betterment of your own life, then there's probably no point in starting. You know what I mean? If you're starting something for the validation of others and not for the validation of yourself, then there's no point of starting it, because you're just not going to follow through. Because if you don't get the results that you want from other people, if you don't get that encouragement, if you don't get that kudos from other people, you're just gonna stop, because it's not coming from within. It's not coming from like deep inside, like a deep desire to accomplish something. It's more surface level. You get it? So that's just my advice, man. There's no point of starting something if you're not doing it for yourself. I mean, my mother used to say something to me when I was a kid all the time. She'd be like, Benjamin, like, remember, you're not doing this for me, you're doing this for yourself. Because I was a child, yeah, who always wanted like validation. I'd always want validation, and you know what, it didn't stop at a child. It was deep into my teens and my early 20s, and some instances even in my late 20s to my early 30s, if I'm being honest. Like, if I'm honest with myself and I think about my intimate relationships, I'm still struggling with the need for validation in some aspects, and I'm trying to shake it off. You get it? I'm trying to shake it off, because I want to get to a point where the actions that I commit to are second nature, and they don't take up any brain space. You know what I mean? Like, they don't take up any willpower. They're just second nature to me. You know, it's like I'm freeing up the RAM from my internal processor, if that makes sense. I ain't an IT guy, but yeah, I want to free up the RAM. You know what I mean? Free up the brain space and just have these actions be second nature. You understand? So, in order for me to do these things, I don't want to have to think about, oh, is this action being reciprocated? Is this action being appreciated? Is this action being noticed? Is this action being validated? I don't want to think about that. I just want to do the action, and whatever results come from the action later on, if I have the time to notice the reaction, then yeah, I'll notice it and it'll be a bonus, but it shouldn't be the sole driving force behind why I'm committed to these actions. You know, it should just be about the kind of person that I want to be, you know, the kind of character I want to develop for myself. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so this is what I'm working on for the future. Just and it's hard, you know. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's not easy, you know. I still find myself getting little, you know, sharp spikes of you know, getting annoyed if I don't receive praise, you know. But the only difference now is I don't vocalize it. Before I'd vocalize it, before I get angry and vocalize my disdain for someone not noticing something that I'm doing. Now it's more like internal, and even within that internal monologue, I find I have two voices: the voice who's screaming for the validation, annoyed at the lack of validation, and the voice that's telling that voice to calm down, and that's not the reason why we do the job, you know. And that voice didn't exist before. The voice that was like, you know, this is not the reason we do the job. We don't do the job for validation. That voice didn't exist before. That voice is new, you know. That's a new update in my system software. So I'm happy about that, because it's like making it's making the actions that I commit to a lot easier to deal with and do, you know. Let me check my notes, bear with me. Yeah, if all your actions come with an expectation of reciprocity, is that the word? If all your actions, if you expect them to be reciprocated, then does that not show a level of entitlement on your behalf? Like, let's say some people may be like, oh, well, you know, my actions should be reciprocated, or they should be appreciated, or you should appreciate me for all the things that I do, and it's like, if that thought is in your head, does that not mean that you're keeping some kind of scorecard about the things that you're doing? And if you are keeping a scorecard on the things that you're doing, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because we are all guilty of that at some point. But I want you to think about how much brain power that takes to keep a list of the things that you're doing. That's like heavy. That's like a full recycle bin. Like, go on your computer right now, and if you haven't emptied your recycle bin, look at how full the recycle bin is, and imagine the recycle bin, all the items in the recycle bin is every time that you are keeping score, or everything in the recycle bin is a score that you've kept of things that you've done for someone that you're expecting back. When you look at it like that, you're gonna be like, rah, like that's a lot of baggage to hold on to. You know, that's a lot of baggage to hold on to. You know, and I'm guilty of this. You end up throwing it back in the person's face. That, yeah, look at what I've done, look what I've done. And then it's like, you might as well have not done it, you know? Because that means it wasn't genuine, was it? You didn't do it out of the kindness of your heart. You did it with the expectation and entitlement that you were gonna receive something from that, you know? And not to say that you don't deserve to receive, but the thing is that when you're focused less on receiving and more on the giving aspect, when you do finally receive, what I've learned and what I've learned is when you do finally receive, it feels so much better because you weren't expecting it. You know when you like order a parcel from Amazon and then you forget about the parcel and then the parcel arrives, that feeling, it feels so much better than when you've been sitting down waiting and anticipating the parcel. When you just forget about it and it arrives and it's like a surprise, it feels so much better. It feels almost like you've ordered it for the second time because there's no expectations. Expectations have the ability to lead to disappointment, but without expectations, everything just becomes a bonus. You understand what I'm saying? So I say this to you as much as I say it to myself. We need to work on removing expectations and the nature of entitlement needs to be removed. Yeah, that needs to be removed. I think it'll make the world a better place, but that's just my humble opinion, you know what I mean? The majority of the actions you commit to should be solely for your own satisfaction. Whether that is feeding the homeless or paying off your taxes or starting an investment fund, these actions are not for the sake of others to see, but should be for the sake of your own peace of mind and satisfaction. I think that speaks for itself, you know. A lot of people feed the homeless on camera. A lot of people pay off their taxes or start an investment fund and then want to run around showing everybody, oh yeah, look, this is my investment fund, yeah, this is what I got, this is what I got. And I'm guilty of it, man. I'm not saying that I'm removed from that. I just have the awareness to see when I'm like I'm just aware enough to see when I'm doing something. Like I'm conscious enough to notice when I'm doing something, and I'm like I don't really like doing that, you know. So that's something that I need to change, and when I'm aware, it makes it easier to nip things in the bud. I think that's the term. I don't know if it's nip it in the butt or nip it in the bud, but I think it's nip it in the bud. But yeah, it just makes it easier. You understand what I'm saying? So I've personally worked on shaking off the need to be understood because it is a waste of time. I'm not saying being understood isn't good, and I'm not saying being understood is a waste of time, but like ruminating on the need to be understood is a waste of time. You know, if your actions are determined by your need to be understood and you need people to understand the reasons behind the actions that you're taking, I think that's a waste of time, you know, because instead of like thinking about being understood, you could just be implementing the actions that need to be taken, you know. I believe like God, the universe, Allah, Buddha, whoever you believe in, gives you a vision, plants a seed and a vision in your mind, and that vision is for you. It's not for the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like, that vision is for you to understand, and you may go up to someone else and say, hey, this is my vision, this is my vision. And it's like, yeah, don't expect them to be as excited about it as you, because it's not a vision that was given to them. It's like the story of I think was it Joseph in the Bible, when like he was having them dreams, and then he went to his brothers and he was telling them, yeah, like I had this dream and I had this dream, and like his brothers are like, yo, like, you get me? It just sparked up like envy and jealousy, because it's like, yo, you have to realize, yo, everybody's a main character in their own life, innit? So imagine everyone being a main character in their own life, yeah, then you come along to their life, yeah, to their show, and tell them, yo, like, this is man's vision, and da 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 da. They're gonna be like, bruv, why are you cramping man's style? Like, a lot of people are gonna be like, why are you cramping man's style? I'm not trying to hear that. Like, I got my own vision. What about my vision? You know what I mean? And even the people that are like, all right, cool, yeah, that's a good vision. I understand that vision. They're not really gonna deep it. You know what I mean? They might give you like 3 seconds of brain power, and then it's like, yeah, all right, cool, get on with it. You know what I mean? Just focus on doing your own thing, man. Let the results speak for themselves. You know? Let the results speak for themselves, man. Focus on your own thing. There ain't no point of trying to spread your vision to everybody else, because not only is it a waste of time, you need to recognize that everybody else has got their own vision. So, take responsibility for the fact that if you're going to someone to tell them about your vision, you are distracting them from focusing on their own, and you're taking their brain power away, where the universe may want to bless them. You know what I mean? It's just something to think about. It's just food for thought. Um, it's just some food for thought. My last point is, come to terms with the fact that you may be disliked and misunderstood, and it will make your life a lot easier. I repeat, come to terms with the fact that you may be disliked and misunderstood, and it will make your life a lot easier. I'm not gonna explain why that is. I'm just gonna leave it there, and hopefully life will do the explaining for you. If you understand this video, kudos to you. If you don't understand it, kudos to you as well. I believe that life will potentially put you in a position where you feel like how I feel now, and on that day when it comes, I want you to remember this video and come back to it and watch it again, and maybe it will hit you in a different way. Just remember, you are not alone in whatever situation you may be going through. Yeah, that's it, man. It's your boy Benjamin. Hope you're well, hope you're good, hope this video has helped. Feel free to leave a comment, feel free to like it, feel free to subscribe. I will be putting out more content as the time goes by. These videos are downloads that I get as I progress through this journey of life, and I am inclined to share them with you. So I appreciate you for taking the time to watch the video. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.